So we have a great event today, a lot of great speakers. Thanks for being here. I know there's a few people coming in slowly but surely as I'm going to start talking here. How many of you are going to Summit at the end of June, June 27, and in San Francisco? How many of you? Good. Well, only 3 of you. Well, Summit is our largest event of the year. It's going to have about 5,000 people in San Francisco from June 27 to July 1st. If you haven't booked, it's still time to book. It's going to be a fantastic event. All the speakers are awesome there, and you also have a fair amount of technical breakouts, a lot of detailed presenters, and the Canadian, we have about 120 people right now from Canada coming. We're going to have a Canadian cocktail on Tuesday night. We're going to have a Jim Whitehurst one-on-one with the Canadian folks on Thursday morning at 7 a.m. after our cocktail the night before. That may be a bit tricky for some of us. So anyway, it's going to be a great event. A lot of good stuff for the Canadian folks to participate. What's new at Red Hat? My name is Luc Villeneuve. I'm the country leader for Red Hat Canada. I've been here for 2.5 years almost, so it's kind of great. When we did this about 3 years ago, the first one we did, we had about 100 people showing up for this event. Last year we had about 150 people, and this time around we had 320 people confirmed. So I hope you don't all show up because we don't have enough room. So anyway, it's great to host you for this event today. Just keep in mind that we're going to have a series of speakers coming up until about noon, until about 1 o'clock actually. And then we're going to have lunch. You're more than welcome to stay for lunch, obviously, and spend some time with other customers, networking with our salespeople and our technical people. Then we're going to have a breakout session at 1:30, 2 o'clock with our great Marco, and Martin is going to come and does a live show up of OpenStack version 8. We're going to show you some good stuff. So all the technical folks who wants to play live with our tools and our stuff, we're going to have a great session this afternoon from about 2 o'clock to 3:30. What's new at Red Hat since in the last few months, right? How many of you have heard of, saw the Microsoft announcement with Red Hat as a partnership? Okay, about half the crowd. So this is a very strategic announcement with us where we now Linux will be able to be supported in Azure, and there's a bunch of tool sets that are going to be supported with OpenShift and CloudForm and so forth. So very key to have .NET and Java to be able to coexist together as we move forward with Microsoft. So that's going to be a great partnership. We are going to get Kilu is going to present at about 1 o'clock today. Our last speaker about what this relationship with Microsoft and Red Hat means. So welcome him when he shows up, and so it'll be a good update for you on what's going on with Microsoft and Red Hat. We also announced the latest or the last, I guess, OEM agreement. I guess we have agreement with IBM, with HP, with Cisco, with Dell. Then we announced our partnership with Lenovo about a few months ago, where they are now reselling our OpenStack solution. So that was the last of the OEM left, really, that we did not have any partnership with, so Lenovo is not part of it. We also have I saw an announcement, a press release about 3 weeks ago, where NEC has now adopted, NEC is a pretty large company worldwide, not as big in Canada, and they are adopting OpenStack and CloudForm and some of the tool sets to market to their customer worldwide. So that's kind of a very key announcement coming up, has come up in the last few months. Some design win we had with around OpenStack and NFV and SDN with Nuage, Alcatel, Ericsson. A lot of very strategic announcement that took place for the last few months. If you have not seen it, you can Google it and find out what it's all about. And our relationship with HP is getting more and more strategic. We're going to see some announcement in the next few weeks where HP is starting to OEM our OpenStack product, which is kind of a departure from them selling their own OpenStack version. They realize that it's a little tricky to start to support a different version OpenStack with the community behind you. So now you're going to be starting to resell our own. So I think from an OpenStack perspective, I've been saying this for the last 3, 4, 5 announcements now. It seems like we're becoming a dominant player in the marketplace where everybody's supporting our bits. So it's kind of cool to get to see that happening. we have seen Tata, Wipro, and some of the other companies like that to train thousands and thousands of people on our solution. One of the biggest issue we have right now at Red Hat is when you, great customers, are buying our stuff, we need to implement it, we need to support it, we need to install it, so we don't have a lot of skill set in Canada to be able to do this. So between Tata and Wipro, they train about 5,000 people in the last year to help us to scale the technology, which is fantastic. Every quarters, we keep adding some new logos into the Red Hat portfolio. It's fantastic. You're going to see some of the customers talking today where they are also new logos. They're going to explain to you what they've done with the technology, with Red Hat technology to grow their business and be able to become more efficient. We hit $2 billion this year, 9,000 people, 56 quarter in a row of positive growth. And I'm pretty convinced we're going to be announcing at 57 next week at our Q1 results. So that's kind of quite exciting to be at Red Hat right now. It's a company, it seems like we are one of the few companies that have massive growth year after year. So it's all because of you, and thank you for that. A great agenda today. We're going to have David Seff from VP of our architecture and infrastructure from IDC is going to come and give us another view of the marketplace. I remember David last year. David and I think this is our third rodeo together, 3 years in a row. And David has, I remember 2 years ago, when he explained things about Canada, he was just on the cuff of seeing the open source movement happening. And Dave and IDC was really a company that was, I guess, explaining to us where this thing was going. And last year, David had a specific data point, a very, very precise data point about where the open source model was going. And this year, with the third platform, which IDC has come up with this third platform, digital transformation model, it shows that the momentum that this thing is taking off and the open source world. So David is going to have a great insight of where we've been over 3 years, really, since I've been at Red Hat, and where this thing is going. So quite exciting times to be, I guess, at IDC as well, because the movement of the IT industry, there's a huge transformation happening, and IDC has predicted this movement from 3 years ago, and now the reality is hitting us pretty good. Brian Shay, our GM of the cloud business, I had the pleasure to have dinner with Brian last night. And I didn't realize that Brian was with us for 14 years. Brian was part of the acquisition of JBoss. So he was part of the acquisition of MIQ, was part of the team who actually was do the due diligence on buying these companies and other things as well that he's done from an acquisition perspective. So Brian brings a huge amount of knowledge for 14 years. I don't even know how big what Red Hat was 14 years ago, probably $50 million in business. And now we're at $2 billion, right? So Brian saw a lot of transformation at Red Hat. Feel free to stick around and ask Brian all kind of this question at lunchtime, and has a lot of insight about where the company is, where the company was, and where the company is going. So that's fantastic. We're going to have a roster of great speakers as well from a Canadian folks. We're going to have Corey Vauquier, our professional service leader from Canada, is going to come in and talk to us about the transformation that we're doing and migration of application and so forth. There's a lot that we're doing, and there's a lot that Corey is involved into helping us to help our customer to move from old to new. Philip is going to come and talk about the cloud. Jean-François is going to come and talk about middleware. And Kilu is going to close up with Microsoft. It's probably going to be right after lunch. So usually we do this, Kilu, we did the same presentation in Montreal a few weeks ago, and Key came in just after lunch. So based on how much time we spend with the different speakers and Q&A, he comes at lunch, before lunch, or just after lunch. So we'll see. And then we're going to have our technical workshops. In Montreal, we had about 25 to 30 people confirmed for the workshop in this room. And then the whole team stayed. So if you feel to stay for the workshop, you're more than welcome, even if you haven't registered. Martin and Marco will give you a great demonstration of our technology live, and that should be a lot of fun for you guys that are technical and wants to see where OpenStack version 8 is all about. This is a beta version, and we're going to show it live, and it's kind of fun. The guys in Montreal had a lot of fun with these two guys that show what we have under the cover.